Good morning, everybody. This is Jay with Guilty of Crime. Sometimes that intro doesn't catch the guilty of crime in the very beginning. So it hits the live. I hit live and then it goes. Thank you, Gothic Bree, for the big happy birthday. Thank you so much for all you all do today. I was going to do a pre-record and I said, you know what? Let's not let Lauren down or Papa Paul. He was so generous. He's been so generous and sweet. So thank you all for all the happy birthdays. I appreciate it all. And it's not about me today. It's about Lauren Dumolo and her being missing for over 4 years now. And we are dedicated in the crime crew to get all of these episodes out. So I thank you all, everybody for all the happy birthdays. We did it yesterday. We celebrated, and today we talk about Lauren. And I appreciate for having everybody here. Thank you, Rebecca Wyman, my friend, all my friends. If you guys like the content that I put out, and thank you, Melissa Lima, for becoming a YouTube member. If you like the content that I put out and the way that I present, it's free to hit that like button and share with your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe, because I have a lot of people that watch my videos. I have thousands and thousands and thousands of views on many of my videos. Some of my videos have 40,000 views, and I'm at 15,000. I think I might have hit 15.5, maybe. What's up, smut peddlers? Don't forget to subscribe. So I am very grateful for each and every one of you here. Let's get into it today. Lauren Dumolo, I gotta always pronounce it Dumolo, has been missing. Now we're gonna start off. We're bringing Complicit to life. So let's bring it to life, and I'm gonna show you today. This episode's called A Bad Situation. The Cadaver dogs. Anytime cadaver dogs are involved, folks, it's not a good situation. And I will chat with you while things are playing, folks. Clark, my girl, which she's A. Wolfpack, Carly, Jojo, I missed you, Melly. Yeah, I think I said everybody. Petty Mason got me on track last night and said, "Get packing." You better be packing. She didn't say it like that, but I knew better. Carrie Poteet, thank you. Please don't forget to subscribe. When this series completely hits, we're going to try to get it out there even more. I want all parts to be out, however, before I start promoting pieces of it. So, I mean, I'm promoting it to the extent I can, but we want Cape Cod in Florida Police Department, or we want a person, a private eye. We want something to come out of this series. This 10, I think it's going to be 11-part series. We want justice for Lauren. We want to open the case back up, look for her, anything, whatever justice means. I'll pray on it. I will say a prayer on that and pray that justice means whatever justice is going to mean, but we're bringing this to light. So let's go. It's 3 years and 3 years too long. It's 4 years now. 4 years now. So let's listen to this and then we'll get into the next one. I can show you that. You'll see. Let's go.
Yeah. She had a really great heart and a contagious laugh.
And today marks 3 years since Cape Coral mother Lauren Dumolo was last seen alive. We've now learned there is a new lead detective on the case of her mysterious disappearance. And tonight, for the first time, a search and rescue group is claiming they have evidence from 3 years ago that has been largely overlooked.
During the 3-year investigation, there have been moments of hope, but nothing that has given Lauren's family what they desperately want and deserve: answers. I talked with Lauren's father and sisters about where the investigation stands today and the emotional toll it's taken on their family.
Heartbroken. Absolutely heartbroken still.
It's a battle. It's a mental battle every day.
I've had trouble sleeping. I've had trouble concentrating.
Words aren't enough to describe the love Lauren Dumolo's family has for her, or the pain they feel without her. June 18th, 2020. This is the last known video of Lauren dropping off an application at a gas station about a half mile from her apartment on Coronado Parkway.
I spoke with her around 6:30 p.m. on the 18th. She had just been released from a mental health facility. This was her second hold that month. Things were she wasn't okay.
Her sister Cassie wanted to help her out, get her back on her feet. She offered up a place to stay, even help her work through the process of unemployment.
That evening, she just sounded tired, and she was like, "Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Let's definitely talk tomorrow." And that was supposed to be on June 19th.
That call never happened. Lauren's live-in boyfriend, Gabriel Pena, called her dad, Paul, that night. Paul says he told Gabriel to file a missing persons report with Cape Coral Police.
All right. Now, the reason I want to play every single episode a recap and what we're doing and show the people is because we're bringing the podcast to life. And if you've never heard the story, I never want you to be behind and say, "Man, I missed the episode. I don't know what's going on." Just know that we're in the search and the pursuit for justice for Lauren Dumolo. And we called this guy Gabby. His name's Gabriel Pena. Was with her for 4 years. Didn't do anything, didn't do any searches for her. He did very little, the least he could do. Paul's over here fighting for justice. He's still fighting every single day. That's all he can talk about. He lives and breathes Lauren, and we want to know what happened to her. And by bringing this back out, I think we can get closer to having the case be opened back up. So I never want you to be lost. This clip was 3 years since Lauren was missing, but currently we're a little over 4 years. This was important because it talks about a search group and evidence they may have overlooked. And that's what the topic is today. There's a lot of twists and turns in this story. And when you listen to the entirety, you're going to understand what I'm talking about. And if you think it's the neighbor, or you think maybe the neighbor or the guy at the park that sees her meditate every day, or is it actually Gabby and he got away with it? Or is it Gabby's partner that drives a van that they confiscated? Did they just, once it went to the FBI, why did it go cold? That's what I want to know. Thank you all for all the support. Thank you for not having me do this alone today. I would have done a pre-record, but didn't want to be alone. And Papa Paul's in the house while we play this. Well, Papa Paul up there. Paul is Paul Dumolo, Lauren's father.
He did 48 hours later on June 21st. Due to an unfortunate clerical error, major crimes investigators weren't even aware of her case until June 24th.
Yes, that put us behind 8 ball, but I think that once it was assigned to them, they really did hit the ground running, and I commend them for that.
Lauren's purse was found at Four Freedoms Park.
I understand that's somewhere she went often.
I think it held a lot of good memories and positive memories with her daughter. She would ground herself there. She would meditate there. That's where she found her peace.
Her shirt would surface there weeks later.
That is Dama.
3 weeks after Lauren was last seen, cadaver dogs with Peace River Search and Rescue worked with KPD, searching the park and surrounding areas. Mike Hadsow founded the nonprofit in 2005.
The dogs are pretty good at their job.
They're sharpshooters if you train them right. They'll hit it every time.
He says the dogs alerted them to the water line at the park, but dive teams didn't find anything in the water.
The dogs came out of the park, and then they went across the street, went up to the second story of the apartment building, and alerted on the front door. And that was not a cued search.
What does that tell you?
Well, there's a lot of odor there for a dog to be able to track, to be able to pick up that odor and then move across the street and do that's a pretty significant. event when that happens. That doesn't happen normally.
Hatzell says that apartment belonged to Lauren's late mother and her boyfriend, Victor.
They said a cat had died, and they think that's what the cadaver dogs were hitting. But human remains odor doesn't smell like animals. It doesn't smell like anything else.
Hatzell says the dogs got another hit on Victor's work van, which the family says has ties to Gabriel, too.
Gabriel and my mother's boyfriend.
Now, Gabriel and Victor, you're going to hear their names a lot. However, they don't call him Gabriel. They call him Gabby. Now, Krista, I don't think Gabby was quite a bit older. I'm not sure. Maybe Paul can tell us in chat. I didn't do a deep dive into Gabby or Gabriel Pena. I did reach out to him and try to get an interview with him, and he totally just like Paul said, he didn't reach back out to me, didn't do anything. So I can bring you on. We want to get through the episode. We can talk a little bit, but I want to get through the episode. So yeah, I can bring you on, Paul. Absolutely. Let me, I'm going to email you the link. I'll share that with you while I'm playing this. And, absolutely. So I know you have questions or you have answers to a lot of this. So let's play this and I'll send you a link right now. I'm going to email you a link because I can't put it on my phone.
Work together
in the flooring industry.
It's very possible that he had just bled on something and then just touched things and that could be it. So we have to eliminate that. And we do that with the crime scene text.
Hatzell says usually police use the handlers to help.
We didn't get any callbacks. We didn't hear anything back from Cape Coral PD. And we were kind of like, wow, that's weird. I wonder what happened.
Lauren's dad, Paul, wonders too.
I think she was murdered by her boyfriend is what I think.
No one has faced any charges relating to Lauren's disappearance, leaving Lauren's family in the same position 1,095 days later.
Do you believe there's any chance that Lauren is still alive?
I always hope I've had that chance because that body has never been found.
They describe the last 3 years as an emotional roller coaster.
It's been detrimental, seriously, to our entire family.
A battle between hope and reality.
In the back of my mind, 1% of me thinks, maybe out there somewhere. But in my own mind, I've kind of come to terms with the fact that I don't believe that she's going to come home alive.
And I think anyone who has like a soul or a conscience or a heart should just come forward and just relieve us of this pain.
Pain that doesn't go away with time.
It's never going to end until I get an answer. I always said that, I will never give up.
They say the path toward healing starts with one word.
Closure.
Now, I spoke with Victor on the phone. He told me he doesn't know why the cadaver dogs hit his van or apartment, but he said he and Gabriel had nothing to do with Lauren's disappearance. He thinks Lauren was running with the wrong crowd and her disappearance may have been drug-related. Gabriel wouldn't return my calls. Now, there is a new detective on the case. I requested to speak with him, but Cape Coral Police say it won't comment on an active investigation. Now, Hatzell with Peace River Search and Rescue told me he actually doesn't even work with Cape Coral Police anymore, but he has spent more than a year working with the family, volunteering, searching a number of other areas in Southwest Florida. Unfortunately, none of which have turned up anything. Crime Stoppers still offering an $8,000 reward for any information.
Let's hope they get some from this.
Yeah, this family needs answers.
And I always like to keep that up there, folks. I saw somebody in chat say that they sent a picture to their family that's in Cape Coral. That's great. That's fantastic. Everything that circulates. And once all episodes are out, I'm going to have a playlist and it's called Complicit. Or I don't know if I'll call it Lauren Dumolo Complicit, whatever I'm going to call it. That will be shared with Oblivious Benson, Duty Ron, and all. I'll share it with Grizzly True Crime and everybody to put in their community page for this to get out to bigger places, bigger and better. And we want to make sure that people understand this story, and you don't have to watch all 10 episodes. If you want to, a lot of you, this is what you do. That's why you're here. However, if you want to hear the full story and see what was going on in the ins and outs of it, it's a great way to, clean the house or go do your exercise or whatever you're doing and sit there and listen to this podcast and have something to look forward to do. Justice for Lauren Dumolo and Paul and the family. Yeah, there's so much for this show today. Absolutely. All right, I sent that link to Paul, so whenever he comes up, he'll probably come up while we're listening to the actual podcast, which is perfect. But I do have some pictures I wanted to show you just so you can see the handlers. Now, it comes from the Complicit website, but I got it from, actually, I'm sharing this, but this is not what I want to share. Thank you, Carrie, for sending me this information. these pictures. She put this nicely, presented it nicely for me to help me put each episode together as they come each week. So she puts the links in there and the pictures and everything to help me out. So thank you, everybody that does help me out. This is the only way that I can do it. So again, Cold Case Foundation, Clark says that's a great idea. You all help. We don't have a big chat here today, and that's okay because I can see your comments. And I kind of wanted it low key so that we can focus on Lauren at hand. And all of you, I see all your messages. I love all of you, and we want to keep that love for Lauren. So don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe if you haven't. And then after we're done with that, make sure you share with your friends in your community pages, on your Facebook, in your Instagram, whatever you could do. Let's get her story out. It's not about me. It's not, this one's not about me at all. I didn't even want to get out of bed this morning. I got out of bed and I said, I don't want to let Lauren down. I didn't want to get out of bed yet. I want to get out of bed. It's my birthday today, but I didn't want to get out of bed. So, all right, take a look. These are the Peace River Canine Search and Rescue. And this is from the Complicit podcast. That's the team that was working with the case. They had the dogs out there you saw. I thought that was important to show you. So Peace River Canine Search and Rescue. All the volunteer Florida nonprofit corporation. Of course, they got to do the federal tax exempt 501c3. Their mission is to assist local, state, military, federal, private agencies, and families as a force multiplier in the recovery of lost, missing, and abducted persons in urban, wilderness, natural, and man-made disasters while proactively educating response agencies and the community on volunteer search and rescue. Peace River Canine Search and Rescue strives to be a leader and preferred service provider to law enforcement, emergency management, and its community. Lauren Dumolo is still missing. Please help find her. And it says donate to the Peace River Canine Search and Rescue. I'm sure that's always active. I will have a community page, I'm sure, soon that I will have time to set up that will be dedicated to this and to put all the information up so you guys can see it. Okay, everybody. So thank you again for being here and supporting me and the channel and finding Lauren, because she's still missing. Now I want to show you some of the images of where they were searching and what they were doing, because as we start getting into the podcast, you're kind of gonna just see me telling you, listen to this. Oh man, did you hear that? You're gonna see my expressions and hit the like button. That's kind of what I do. And Clark, I feel like you can help solve this, Jay. You have passion and a heart. Thank you. I would love to solve this. I would love to help. My biggest wish, my wish for on my birthday, and I feel like I'm being called to this, and I don't want I can't let Lauren down. I didn't want to skip a day selfishly, I felt like, but I'd love for this to get opened back up. I'd love for them to please to open it back up and say, we missed something. We're looking again. We have fresh eyes. Anything would make this is what I do. Make my day, week, month, year, life. That's my goal. Paul has come on. Paul is not on yet. I don't know where Paul is. Carrie, if you could do me a favor and call Paul or text him and ask him what he's doing. I'm going to start playing the podcast soon, but let me show you Lauren's personal items found on the beach. So this is the area where they were looking, okay? I'm just going to explain so you understand the entirety of it. That's the main street. Her apartment is 3 blocks down. Obviously, she would walk to the beach, which is, I don't know if I'm pointing the right way, but you can see the arrows going that way. That's Four Freedoms Park. We've showed many times. We got the dumpster there, and there's the van that they checked, and there's the van that they swapped. Now, the van is Gabby, I believe Gabby and Victor's work van. So it was swabbed. They did take it. They did all the things that police do, swabbing, wiping down, checking for blood. Nothing turned up. So that's what I wanted you to see as we start listening to this. And I'll hear Paul when he comes on, when he clicks on. And one more, actually, let me put this up just so you guys can see it and scan it. And I see Paul's starting to come up, but before I bring him, I'm going to show you this last thing. If you want to, you scan to submit your tip, if you have a tip, whatever. I haven't seen Paul. Paul's back there, but I can't see him. So let me see what happens. I don't hear him or see him yet, but there's the missing poster. She's still missing. The search continues. There's a cash reward, which nobody's really worried about that. I don't think. But if you're worried about that, very cool. Yes, thank you, Sonia Garcia. The best to cover, praying for Lauren's family. I am praying for Paul right now and for this case to be opened again. I'm realistic. I'm a realist, and I realize what may have happened to her by now. And I realize that she's probably no longer with us, but I want this case to be open again so that we can find out what happened. Even if we don't find her remains, I want her to rest in peace, knowing that we're doing this. Adam, thank you. It is my actual birthday, July 25th, 1979. I was born. Thank you. All right, now I'm going to put on the next. This will be perfect segue if Paul can get it together behind the scenes, because I don't see him yet. If I show you what pulls up with Paul, it's blank. So I'll leave it in the blank. And then I'll bring up the podcast, Complicit. All right. This is called a Bad Situation. So I'm going to share this one. And hopefully his black screen turns not black soon. And he can come on and talk. He's muted for now. He's actually not even muted, but I'm sure he'll get it together soon. I don't want to leave him out of this since he wants to be in. But you all, the show has to go on. So, a Bad Situation is what this one's called with Complicit. Let me make sure I'm sharing. Let's go. All right.
On the last Complicit.
So we stood there and we just watched and we just waited. And then finally, they called the dive and they started getting out. They were like, we didn't find anything.
Her wallet was in there. Her keys were in it. Everything was in there. Except her phone.
It was the burgundy shirt just laying in the sand. It wasn't.
All right, Paul, let you go ahead and introduce yourself or say hello before we start getting into this. And also tell me about Gabby. How much older was Gabby, or what's the deal? What do you want? What do you want to say today? Can you hear me? Hold on. You're still muted. Hold on. I can't unmute your guest because you're muted. So you're muted on your side, Paul. I'm going to play this while you're figuring it out. I'm letting you know that you're on mute. It won't let me unmute you because your phone is muted. So unmute yourself if you could. That is Lauren's dad, Paul Dumolo. He's there listening with us. And
buried
when he
in the
comes
sand.
on,
It wasn't wet, wasn't dirty. It looked fresh. There's no way that shirt had been laying there for 10 days without any of us seeing it. We go to that park 2 or 3 times a day, every day. It wasn't even there earlier in that day.
I swear to God, Victor is walking up the shoreline, walking the dog with sunglasses on, watching us.
When Lauren went missing, Gabby stopped coming over. Isn't that odd?
okay.
29 days since.
All right. Now Paul is unmuted and I'm bringing him on. Paul, tell me about Gabby. Was he older than Lauren? Much older? And what you want to say? You're not muted anymore, but I can't hear you. Can you say something? I can hear you, but you're not talking. I guess you can't hear me, huh? Oh, background noise. Okay. All right, I'm gonna keep playing this until I can hear you. Can you hear me? All right, I'm gonna keep going for a bit because I don't know what we're
missing
doing.
Cape Coral mother was last seen. Lauren Dumolo just turned 30 on Tuesday.
Dumolo hasn't been seen in more than a month now.
A man who calls himself a witch doctor now behind bars in the case of a missing mother.
Where is Lauren Dumolo? I'm Hillary Wadsworth. And I'm Caitlin Body. And you're listening to Complicit. Celebrated everything. If there was a glimmer of hope that their sister was just hiding out somewhere, it was now gone. Lauren would have been there to ring in her 30th birthday. The very next day, July 15th, Lauren's case went national. People magazine broke the story, and suddenly more news outlets were interested in reporting the case.
Lauren Dumolo vanished without a trace on June 19th. Her mom, like so many Americans, was looking for a job during the height of the coronavirus lockdown.
The Cape Coral Police Department was feeling the pressure. Their dive team search hadn't turned up much. The only evidence they had was turned in weeks ago, and there were no leads that had yet been generated from any of the items that were found in the park. Her shirt was sent out for DNA analysis, and the 2 cell phones Cassie handed over were now in the hands of other experts, but the results wouldn't come in until much later. In the meantime, Detective Jones arranged for another search, this time with dogs, cadaver dogs.
Cadaver dogs are different than bloodhounds. Bloodhounds can pick out like certain people by smell, where cadaver dogs pick up on deteriorating bodies, and they also can differentiate between.
All right, Paul, can you hear us now? Can you hear me now? Yeah, he would love to say hello. At least say hello to everybody. Yeah, he's saying hello, and I would think he could hear us, but I think he's muted, and I don't want to. It's okay if he's just on here listening with us today. If he can't, he's driving, so I don't want anything to happen. He just got a new truck, folks. Somebody hit him in his old truck, and or just his nice truck. I saw a picture of it. It was bad. He had to get a new one, so I don't want anything to happen with him. So let's just let him listen with us. And I don't think he can hear us. He might be able to hear us, but we can't hear him. I'm going to play this, and when he's ready, or if not, he'll just be here with us.
Deteriorating humans and deteriorating animals.
The search was scheduled for July 20th and started in Four Freedoms Park because at that time, the park was the focal point. The dogs arrived and began to walk around the park with their handlers. Almost immediately, something interesting happened. Detective Jones even used the word chilling as he described to Paul, Cassie, and Lindsay what happened.
They brought the cadaver dogs to the park, and the cadaver dogs led them to Victor and Gabby's work van, which is parked across the street because that's where Victor lives and that's where the work van stays. And one of the dogs alerted on the van, so they picked up some kind of scent.
The dogs got a hit on Victor and Gabby's maroon red cargo van that they used for work. They usually kept this van parked in a space under the carport in front of Victor and Ann's apartment building. Remember, Victor and Gabby work for a flooring company. Their job is to rip up old flooring and install new flooring. Inside the van were the tools to perform such installations. But that wasn't all. The dogs continued to follow a scent.
Then the dogs led them all the way up to their apartment.
To our mother's home.
The cadaver dogs continued to trail a scent from the work van where they initially got a hit, up a flight of stairs, and directly to the front door of Victor and Ann's apartment. Jeffrey, Lauren, Lindsay, and Cassie's brother, was also still living there.
I remember calling Jeffrey that night just because we were talking so much about Lauren's case. And he had said to me, Lindsay, I'm done talking to everyone. You guys really think that Mom and Victor has something to do with Lauren's disappearance? The cops are here right now and they have dogs and they're asking us to leave our apartments and they want to search our apartments, and Mom's downstairs crying. Victor's in the park walking the dogs and I had to stay down here. He kept saying, you guys really fucked us. He thought all of the family was against him and Mom and Vic, and we had never called in for them to come check the apartment. That was just one of their investigations.
And Complicit does such a good job. I think Paul's just listening. I can't unmute him, but you know what? It's great to have him on. You know that you've seen him on many of the episodes here. This is Lauren's dad, and he's here. He's here. He's just here. He's not even just in spirit. He's here on there. You can see him. Jay, drive first, talk second. Exactly. Happy birthday, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. And it's actually my birthday today. Yeah. Paul, breathe. Maybe at some point, if he pulls over, he'll be able to figure it out, but it's okay. Everybody has a wonderful day. Thank you all. Again, thank you, everybody. I doubt he's reading. No, he's not reading. He's listening to us, I believe. And sometimes things like that happen on StreamYard. So that's Paul Dumolo, Lauren Dumolo's dad, and he's with us, and he's dedicated to also finding out what happened to his daughter. So hello all. Let's continue.
Duties.
Jeffrey was obviously anxious about the situation and blamed the rest of his family on the presence of the police and the dogs. Lindsay tried to explain that, again, they were not aware the search was even happening, let alone that the cadaver dogs would lead right to their apartment from a starting point at the park. It was a surprise for everyone. From the apartment, the dogs continued to an area behind the apartment complex where there were 2 portable storage units.
Yes.
Anne posted the following message on Facebook that evening.
What an eventful day. The police came to my house with canines and said we're here to search for a body. They searched my house, did several swabs. They said we're cleared. Still no word on Lauren.
Similar to Gabby saying he passed his polygraph, the police did not confirm this assertion Anne relayed of being cleared. In fact, the police confiscated a number of items that evening.
They took the curtain out of the house, which was in front of the washer and dryer because there was no door. They took Victor and Gabby's work van. Then they went to the yard and took 2 trailers. The dogs had on enclosed trailers that you could put equipment in or whatever.
Now, for you all that know Paul, you know that's his voice there. He was really tight-knit in the creation of Complicit with Hillary and Caitlin. This is an award-winning podcast. It's on Spotify. It is on. I am streaming it from YouTube because they want me to do the YouTube thing all together. So we're streaming it from YouTube, but it won many awards. You can see on the little thumbnail down there that's how good this podcast and deep of a dive that they did. Still can't hear you, Paul. I hope you can hear us. Anyway, we'll keep going. I just want you to know that's Paul's voice there.
Or if you're demoing something, all your junk in the back of that, whatever,
The police went straight to work on the items they had taken from Victor and Anne's apartment. The curtain was sent out for DNA analysis, and the work van was searched and analyzed immediately. Surprisingly, the police returned the work van within the week.
They did give the van back to Victor and Gabby to use and said that they checked out.
It did check out, but it seemed like they returned it quickly due to a technicality.
According to Cape Coral Police Department Forensics, because of Victor and Gabby's line of work, they install and take out.
Let me just tell you real quick, Paul, if you can hear me, your mic is not connected. That's why when I click on the button, it says your mic is not connected. So that's the problem. All right, let's keep going. He's here.
Carpets, sometimes from people's homes that have passed, sometimes from bathrooms. And apparently dogs can get feces and menstrual blood and other deteriorating bodies confused because they're not hitting on like a certain scent. They're just hitting on like the chemical that your body releases when you pass away after so many hours.
Aunt Sue spoke with the dog handler, whose dog had led the police to the work van, and found that she too was surprised by the follow-up after the dog search.
I spoke to Nadia, who handled the dog the day that dog searched the truck. And she said Lauren's DNA was in the front of the van, lightly, the middle of the van, but that dog laid in the back right-hand corner of that van. That dog laid down. And she said, when a cadaver dog lays down and stays, that dog is positive.
The curtain and other items would take a bit longer. The shirt they found that they believed to be Lauren's was also still in the hands of the forensics department, but we hadn't seen the last of the van.
A week after those trucks were brought back, Victor and Gabby went to the yard. They didn't want the same work van back, the red one. They wanted the new white one. The owner, Oscar, told them no. They had a big argument.
The Oscar that Paul is referring to was not only the owner of the company where Victor and Gabby worked, but a longtime friend of Victor's as well. On July 28th, just a couple of days after the van was returned to Victor and Gabby, after the argument about getting a new work van, another tragedy happened.
2 days later, Oscar's found hanging in a hotel room, the owner of the company.
Victor and Gabby's boss was found dead in his hotel room. When we talked to the detectives about that, again, a coincidence in their words.
Did you hear that? And that's why this podcast has so many twists and turns and episodes to get through. And I cannot wait until you all are all to hear all of it through my window, so to speak, and to see it. What do you think happened there? I mean, all of this, there's going to be a lot of different speculations about what happened, but why would the boss have hung himself, folks? What is going on with them? Do you think maybe those three were involved in that? And one of them didn't, either they did that to him or he couldn't live with himself. You know, many times that happens. And when there are multiple people that commit crimes together, somebody always tells, or it never goes well when there are multiple people. Melly, happy birthday, beautiful. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Everything helps to drive the channel, to keep it going, so I appreciate it. Yes, it's my actual birthday, July 25th, 1979. I am a Leo. All right, we're gonna keep going. I had to pose that question to you. Yeah, Paul's there, he's with us listening, but for some reason his mic isn't connected. When I click on it, it says can't unmute your guest. There he is. Paul. Hey,
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm driving.
Yeah, we know. We're okay. So tell me, how was Gabby a lot older than Lauren?
What?
Was Gabby a lot older than Lauren?
Yes.
Older.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone called that. Tell me about that and never what you have to say today. What do you have to say?
What do I have to say about that? Like I said the first time, I never met the man, but Lauren, kind of kept it a secret from me. I guess because of his age.
Can you turn your volume up? I can't hear you.
Hold on 1 second. Is that better?
Much better. No, I just wanted to know how much older he was.
He was like 15 years older than she was, I believe.
Good call.
When I found that out, I wasn't happy about it at all.
Thank you. Good call, somebody. Good call. He was 15 years older. And then, okay, you came on the show today because you wanted to say something. What do you got to say today, Mr. We'll call you Papa Paul.
What do I got to say? With the dogs.
Yeah.
I can tell you exactly what the dogs hit on because I spoke with Mike from Peace River, the owner of the dogs.
Please.
From Peace River.
Go ahead.
And he said to me, I thought after that, within a couple of days, they were going to be making an arrest because I was surprised that they didn't. And he will no longer work with Cape Coral Police Department because of this and just the way he was treated and everything. But when the dogs hit on the van, they hit on a bloody rag in the back. They hit on a first aid kit. They hit on rope. And they hit on the front seat of the car. Then in the mother's apartment, they hit on, there was drapes in front of the washer and dryer. There was no, I guess, like bifold doors or whatever, or just a regular door. I don't know. I think it was in the apartment. There was drapes.
Right.
They hit on the drapes. They hit on the rug. They hit on the dishwasher. And they hit on drapes looking, they were like sliding door that looked across the street 4 feet of the park and had a balcony. Right. And they hit on those drapes also.
Wow,
and
so somebody's cleaning.
Also, yeah, they can't clean good enough. Obviously.
No, you can't ever.
So anyway, as far as all that went, Mike was really upset about it. And, then the detectives were trying to say that it could have been human feces and blah, blah, blah. Mike said, well, the only time that would be human feces is you'd have to be really sick and have blood in your, in your stool. And Lauren wasn't sick or anything. I said, no. goes, and
Right.
that's just ridiculous. He said that's not what
Thank
that
you,
was.
Carrie.
And it definitely wasn't that on the curtains and all the things that the dogs did.
Of course. Yeah,
Right.
no, absolutely.
Right. So
We watch too much true crime around here to even think
better.
that.
Right.
Yeah, we know better.
Remember
Yeah.
we were talking about Dr. Phil and why I didn't like Dr. Phil. One of the reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Tell me,
he never
please.
I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. I was sitting there while they were doing the show, an audience, facing the audience. All of a sudden, Detective Jones comes up on a screen, like a big TV screen up in front of me. I was never told he was being interviewed. And he had the nerve to say up there exactly what I just said, that, it was probably more than likely human feces that the dog hit on, which is bullshit, because it wasn't.
Right.
And I was just beside myself. I mean, if you take a look at that episode, and saw my face, I told him, during the break, I was like, listen, he wouldn't let me say what I wanted to say. He had his own agenda and how he wanted to run the show. And I said, either you're going to allow me to say what I'm going to say, or I'm going to get up and walk off the stage, basically. I said, because this is bullshit. I said, what he just said, and, Nick Jones said, that's not right. That's not right at all. I said, why wasn't I told he was even being interviewed today? And I'm surprised that all of a sudden this man's being interviewed live, and I'm sitting there and I ended up.
That's why. Hey, that's why they want the shock factor. Dr. Phil is very much for.
Dr. Phil has his own agenda about how he wants his show to look and how.
Oh, he wanted you to react a certain way. That's why.
Well,
I'm not a fan. Sorry, folks.
I reacted, but I didn't do it on. I didn't do it on TV. And I wasn't allowed to say nothing about Gabby. Basically, I was there, and I almost wasn't going to even go, but I did it anyway.
Cadaver dogs.
But the only reason I did it was just to get my daughter national attention. That was the only reason.
I understand completely. So,
but after as far as the dogs went, and I'll tell you what happened after that. They got the two. They got the van, and they got the two trailers. They had them for about a week. Well, they gave them back. Whatever they kept, they kept. And the day they got it back, Victor and Gabby wanted a new van. And this is coming from Oscar's wife now. I spoke to her after Oscar hung himself. Supposedly.
Okay.
But he didn't hang himself. That's bullshit too.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think when there's three people, that gives me a feeling that something. Three people were involved.
I think they had cameras out there facing the yard, and I'm sure Oscar probably looked at the cameras and saw them take whatever they did with one of them or two of those trailers, and he had knowledge of things, obviously, because he was going fishing that day. They went fishing. It was a Thursday, I believe, I believe it was a Thursday, and he went fishing every Thursday with his friends. And that Thursday, he was supposed to bring the bait with him, and they spoke with him. I'm getting the bait, blah 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 blah. Well, he never showed up. Going fishing. So they called over, and they tried calling him. They couldn't get in touch with him. That's how they found out he hung himself. Because they found his car, and I guess they entered. The cops, this is what the cops told me. And I was just like, I just shook my head and I had to walk out of the room. This is what the cops told me about Oscar. Well, he was going through a divorce. And if you were married to his wife and going through a divorce, you'd hang yourself too. And I looked
That's what they said to you?
I swear to God, you can't make this shit up, really. And
no, you can't.
What? You know what? You're so full of fucking shit. Exactly what I said to him. I said, I got to get out of here.
That is.
You guys make
Thank you, Monica.
Excuse my wife.
No, you're.
It's ridiculous the things they say. But anyway,
that is
ridiculous, right, Jay?
Yeah, no, that's not even real. They just wanted to shut it up. They didn't want to look into it. Case closed, and I get that.
Every door closed, from beginning to end.
Well, that's not what we want to do. We absolutely don't want to do that. We want to keep this going. So, can we listen a little more, and then, or do you want to finish? We'll come back and cut it.
Not the van, really quick. Well,
okay, sure.
What happened with the van was they wanted a new van, Gabby and Victor. And
there you go. Okay.
The wife told them, and Oscar told them, we can't get you a new van. We can't afford it right now. Things are slow. Da 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 da. You need to use that van. Nothing wrong with it. So that day, they got the van. They were going to work. On the way to work, they called up and they said the van broke down and they're on the side of the road. So they sent out their mechanic. mechanic couldn't get the van started. So the mechanic brought the van back. I guess they gave him another, they switched out. They gave them a different van or whatever to do, go to work that day. Come to find out, you know why the van broke down? Because they put metal filings in the gas tank, which went through the engine and destroyed it. And it wasn't worth fixing at that point no more. And then it was sent to a crusher. They got crushed. They parted it out, I'm sure, whatever was salvageable. And then
Wait, what did they put? Tell me again, because it cut out. What did they put?
Metal filings in the gas tank, which got sucked.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So the guys probably did that so they can get themselves a new van, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they didn't want that van. They want that van.
Anyway, they want that van gone, right?
Yeah.
And there's a big
evidence, right? Yeah,
no, that's a huge. There's a huge reason for that, folks. There's no, yeah, absolutely. There's so many.
Who else would put the metal filings in? The police department, you think did that?
No, they did that. They didn't want the van. Yeah, metal filings in the gas tank, folks. And when we say they, we're talking about Victor and Gabby. They didn't want that van. They wanted it gone, and then Oscar ended up unaliving himself supposedly after that. So what do you all think? Let's listen a little bit more, and then we can go back and forth. Wow. Did not know that, and that's why it's so good to have you on here, Paul. All right.
That apparently their boss and the boss's wife was going through a divorce, so they believe that he hung himself.
Paul dug a little deeper.
He was going through a divorce for a long time. He was 72 years old. He was from Canada, and he didn't care about it. That day that he was found, he was supposed to go fishing with his friends. They were waiting for him at the dock. He was supposed to bring the bait that day, and he never showed up.
And Matt had another thought. He remembered that Gabby returned home from work around 10 p.m. on June 18th. According to Lindsay, it was not common for Gabby and Victor to return that late.
They were out until 10 or 11 at night on Thursday with the work van. Then their boss, who would be the one who, if the police asked him, for any kind of records of this van or where they were supposed to be at this time, he's now dead.
Chapter 9. Battle between good and evil.
Lauren's disappearance had created a rift in the family. Victor and Anne's behavior had raised their family's suspicion since the beginning, when their absence from searches and seeming disinterest in finding Lauren began. The police and cadaver dog search only added fuel to that fire, even though so far, nothing had come back as pointing a finger to any of them.
At the time of Jeffrey being really upset about the police, it was before.
Now, Tiff Knox, you asked about what the dogs were trained at. I don't know if you missed that. It's the cadaver dogs. So specifically, cadaver dogs are looking for a body, I assume, a body that's no longer alive. So I don't know if there's any other details on that, Paul, that you want to. The cadaver dogs were looking for any evidence to a body or what? Did they tell you anything, Paul? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What happens is you die within a half an hour or about an hour. And this is what they told me, the people that, own the dogs from Peace River, that you start, giving off, I guess some kind of a scent, from your body. And
right.
That's what the cadaver dogs are hitting on. And they won't hit on animals. They won't hit on, because that's what Victor tried to say, that their cat died in the house a couple of months before or some shit,
Oh, wow. Oh, so, man.
No, they don't hit on that. Different scent. Those dogs are trained to hit on human remains. And so once you die, within that hour, you start giving off a scent. And that's what the dogs hit on. And that's why Peace River, when I spoke to Mike, he was like, I thought for sure within a week there'd be arrests. They had so much evidence. Just with the dogs alone, enough circumstantial evidence there that they can get convicted. Nothing. He said he couldn't believe it. And then they had a big with them at Cape Coral Police Department. What they were saying about human feces and blah blah blah. And he's like, I will never work with the Cape Coral Police Department again. And don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something. I said some bad things about some of the guys in the police department. A lot of that was out of frustration. Do I think?
Of course.
Do I think Nick Jones is a good cop? Yes. Do I think he's dirty? No. Did I at a certain time think that and call him out on it? Yes, to his face. Do I believe that anymore? No. I just don't think that they had the resources, because there's such a small, police department, to solve this kind of case. And what also didn't help was the fact that the missing person report wasn't put in properly. So all that time that went by and everything was able to be disposed of, cleaned up. And
Now, Davey, Davey asked, "What's justice?" Now, I can answer what is justice, but what's justice for you, Paul? What would be? I already know the answer to that, but what would justice be? What is justice for you?
5 minutes with each one of them in the same room at the same time.
That'd be justice. Okay. Your voice is cutting in and out, but yeah, 5 minutes with.
That's 5 minutes with them in the room with me behind closed doors. That's it.
Now, if they ever find Lauren's remains, or they reopen the case and arrest somebody, would you feel like justice is starting, or would you feel any? Would it make you
feel better that at least somebody is, dealing with the consequences of their actions, I guess. And
right.
For that part would make me feel better, that they're not out walking around still having a good time and enjoying their lives, But to me, that's not even justice for my daughter.
Right. Understood. Most of the time we call it justice, but I see many victims, parents and families saying, I saw them get convicted for life without parole, and it still didn't bring the person back. But we don't want to.
Right.
We're not here for nothing. I'm not here just wasting my time and all of your time. We're here to tell the story, get it back out there, and get answers, get fresh eyes to look at this. So justice for me is to get this case reopened and start digging around again and looking and finding something. That's the answer for me, Davey. And I know it was the just philosophical question, but that's the truth for me. I don't do things to waste my time.
Anybody that has children, and something like, that a child is murdered, if
right.
a car accident or a drunk drive, that's, that wasn't an intentional type of thing. Could it have been prevented if that person wasn't drinking and driving, of course? But it wasn't.
Right.
This was intentional. That's different.
Yeah, no, I get it. All right, let's listen to some more, folks.
For Jeffrey, it started noticing the odd things that we all had noticed. There's almost been kind of a split in the family of, there's people that are in support of Victor, and then the rest of the family that just kind of separate out and, talk amongst themselves about what happened, who did this.
Jeffrey found himself caught in the middle. He was living with Victor and Anne, and he was still working for the same company as Victor and Gabby, although he was assigned to different work sites and had a different work partner. His work partner was the company owner's son, who had just lost his father. But in his ear were his sisters, and they, like the police, weren't ruling anyone out as having something to do with Lauren's disappearance.
And I think Jeffrey was caught in the middle because he lived there, and then he started noticing things too and started talking to us more and then coming and staying here more.
Victor's elusive and evasive behavior the day they found Lauren's shirt in the park surprised everyone.
Before they move on, I just want to say, remember, we're covering Jocelyn Nungrai right now, and this is almost word for word what happened with Jocelyn's case. Is it the workers told the other worker, and maybe one of them was the boss, that something bad happened and someone's life got taken, and immediately they turned him in, and now both suspects are in jail facing possible death penalty. So what's happening here is almost identical. If they were the people that did that, they could have said something to Oscar and they wanted to quiet him up, or maybe he was involved too, all three of them. But word for word, if you watch the Jocelyn Nungrai case, you will see exactly what the circumstances are in this case, just so you know, Paul and everybody else. Did you want to say something, or?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. We'll keep going.
It might not have been that unusual for him to ignore Cassie and Matt. He didn't interact with them on a regular basis. But Lindsay? Lindsay had at one point lived with him and her mom. Victor even now babysat Lindsay's daughter pretty frequently. It didn't make sense.
He said numerous times that he treats her and believes that all of mom's kids are like his daughters and son, like he treated her like a daughter. From what I know, like he picked her up constantly from work, drove her there a few times.
And then Matt told us about another odd situation with Victor that occurred on July 30th, 6 weeks after Lauren went missing, 10 days after the Cadaver dogs had paid him a visit.
Victor had gotten a text message, a spam message. He texted back a picture of Lindsay, her daughter, and Lauren Dumolo all together from Lindsay's Facebook. Victor's friends are on Facebook.
The photo Matt is describing is a picture taken from Lindsay's own Facebook uploads. It's a picture of Lindsay, Lindsay's daughter, and Lauren sitting in a sports bar type restaurant at the countertop area, smiling from ear to ear. The photo is from May 12th, 2019, which was Mother's Day that year. It's even captioned, "Happy Mother's Day," in Lindsay's original post. The original photo also includes Anne on the far right-hand side, but in the version Victor sent to that spam number, she was cropped out.
He sent it to himself, and then he brought it to Lindsay's brother, Jeffrey, and said, "Look, I think somebody is threatening us or something. Look, I got this message from this number. It might be the person, or whatever that did this."
And then you can look and clearly see that he sent it to himself.
Yeah, it's an Android, right? We looked up the number, and it was it's just a spam call number. It's not anything. He got a message, and then he responded to it, and then said that number was sending him this picture, like a threat or something.
For those of you who aren't familiar with Androids or how the text messaging app works on them, a sender's own messages appear in bubbles on the right-hand side of the screen in a text conversation, while messages received from others appear in bubbles on the left. This is how Jeffrey could plainly see that Victor had sent this photo as an outgoing message to that spam number, not the other way around, as Victor claimed. Lindsay told us that later on that evening, Jeffrey took a picture of Victor's phone with the text message thread pulled up on the screen. He showed his mother a little later that evening because he was concerned.
Did you want to say something, Paul?
No, I'm just passing another.
Okay. All right, we'll keep going. Thank you for being here today, by the way.
Anne just looked at him and laughed. We'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Bonafide. Bonafide's mission is to provide women with natural.com and use promo code Complicit.
Her alcohol nonstop. It seemed to be that after Lauren left, it was just permanently drunk.
She didn't work. She didn't do nothing. She sat in a wheelchair and drank and got drunk every day, and that was her life.
But as we mentioned in episode 2, Anne was in a wheelchair voluntarily.
She just put herself in a wheelchair because she got so drunk and messed up, she'd fall down and break bones. So instead of falling down and breaking bones, she just decided to wheel herself all over the place.
My sister wasn't in any shape to defend herself, honestly. She really wasn't. She just wasn't.
But there was more to Anne than her drinking. She was an artist, a painter who did beautiful scenic paintings. And much like Lauren, she too was into energy. She believed in the power of prayer, vibrations, and light. She joined an online group that promised protection, guidance, healing, and enlightenment. Group members' posts range from how to raise vibrations and clear chakras to healing prayer and aura reading requests from the community. Members share intimate details of their lives and expose their vulnerabilities, fears, and worries. The community, in turn, offers words of encouragement, actionable suggestions, and of course, prayers. Anne was a casual member, initiating a post occasionally, but mostly leaving comments and prayers on other members' posts. But when she needed the community, they were there for her. Back in 2018, Anne even posted from her hospital bed in the ICU when she was admitted for sepsis poisoning following an E. coli exposure. Many thoughts and prayers had come her way.
Now, folks, I want to bring this to your attention because this, Lauren, I definitely got this case, and automatically when I hear what she does and how she aligns and how she used to align in her beliefs and what I've talked to with Paul, I absolutely aligned with those. The angel numbers, right? Spirituality, higher levels, things like that. So that was a perfect segue to talk about and just have you guys think, like a rhetorical question. How do you feel about energy and, spirituality? So just think about that. And Paul, if you have anything to say, that, it's a good segue right now for that.
I just want to know if you want me to elaborate anything about the mother's death, because that whole thing is all fishy too, because the way she died, she died shortly after the cadaver dogs were there. You know that, right? And
I don't, and you can elaborate on it if you turn your volume up just a little bit, maybe, or speak a little.
Is that better? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Unfortunately, my headphones died before while I was talking. That's why I'm charging them.
That's okay. You're good.
Anyway, what happened with her was downstairs. She lived in the upstairs apartment. Downstairs, there was a problem with a hot water heater, and the maintenance guy that went in there, for some reason, needed to be upstairs that same day in their apartment, in Lauren's mom's apartment, in Victor's apartment, supposedly. That man lived and knew Gabby from 12 years prior to, living, believe it or not, in Wisconsin, and that's exactly where I am right now. And they lived about 10 miles apart. They lived about 10 miles apart. So anyway, this guy is upstairs in a room, and supposedly had to do something in this room, in this bedroom, something to do with the hot water heater downstairs, which I don't know what that could have been, because from what I understand, he had no work order or nothing to even be in that apartment. But he let himself in, and then he decided I could be there for a little while, and he said, this is what he told the police: he had to go to the bathroom. Well, the room that he was working in had a bathroom, but he decided he didn't want to use that one. I guess he wanted to use the other bathroom.
Right.
So he opened up the door, and guess what? It was supposedly Anne sitting on the toilet, and he said said hello to her or whatever, but he said she never responded. So he thought she was praying.
Wow. Okay. So folks, listen here. Anne, we're talking about Anne. Anne. Wait. So Anne doesn't pray, but listen.
No.
Well, you're cutting out a little bit, but let me just tell people who this is. Anne, that's Lauren's mother, correct?
Correct. So what he did was he closed and locked the bathroom door. Now it wasn't locked because he opened it, right? But for some reason he locked it, and then he left. He didn't call the police. He didn't call the ambulance. Nobody.
She was passed away. She wasn't praying. She was passed away.
Jeffrey got home from work. Her son, Jeffrey, from her first marriage, my stepson, and he had to kick the door in, and she was just about blue. They rushed her to the hospital. She was in ICU for about 2 weeks, and then she started to recover. Well, the following weekend, Victor spent the weekend at the hospital with her. And guess what? On Sunday when he left, she went back into ICU, and she was doing much better. So, Susan called me, her sister. I was like, listen, tell them you don't want Victor in that hospital no more and visiting your sister anymore. He's not allowed. He has no visitation rights. Something's not right, I told her. Said something else, the whole damn thing. So she did that. So he wasn't allowed back in. She got better again. And now she's out of ICU again.
Now, hold on real quick. Stop for 1 second. Is Victor, was he dating or something with Anne? What was Victor's relationship with Anne? Was that her?
They were boyfriend and girlfriend for what? Split up.
Okay, so
we were together for 14 years or something like that.
And then she got with Victor. So that's how Victor.
Actually, she met him because that was her drug dealer. I found out. And then
so she was an alcoholic. Anna, she's alcoholic. Someone was talking about alcohol in chat, but that was not Lauren.
Who was an alcoholic?
Anne. That wasn't Lauren. That was Anne, her mother.
Yeah, her mother, my ex-wife. Yeah.
Right.
That's about right now. Yep. So
okay. People just need to understand. They don't, there's some people that are like, wait, what?
About Lauren's mom now. So this is what happened to Harley, and the guy Tim, who happens to know Gabby from before they even went to Florida, and they were living up here in Wisconsin, which I just happened to be here. I'm picking up my load. But anyway, the funny thing is that like I said, Victor was there, and over the weekend, and spent the weekend at the hospital, and then he left on Sunday to go back to work on Monday, and that night she went back into ICU again. So he was no longer allowed in the hospital. So I told her, I said, listen, something's not right, call the police department and have them look into this and find out what happened. She did. I don't know if the police did anything or not. I couldn't even tell you because I really couldn't get answers out of them. It was like,
right.
Because they would always tell me, well, it's a part of an ongoing investigation. We can't, just tell you anything.
Yeah.
Tell you, is them, the media. I'm like, whatever, man. I got to the point where I didn't even talk to them no more. Anyway, so a few weeks after that, we had a fundraiser for Lauren that was set up. And about 100 bikes showed up. 100 bikers showed up down there. And I didn't know them. I knew like 3 of them. And the rest of them just showed up. Because they showed up. And during that fundraiser, Lindsay was there, and Cassie was there, and everybody was there. So that same day, a woman went into young lady went into the hospital where Ann was and said that she was Lindsay, her daughter. And now you got to remember, this is the height of COVID, right? So at that time, you had to sign in, and there's cameras in every hospital. And the reason they have cameras is somebody steals a baby, basically, is what that's for.
Okay.
All
right.
Yeah. So, they had to sign in, and somebody went into her room and said that it was Lindsay, who wasn't there. Lindsay was at the fundraiser, where we all were. And within a day or two, guess what?
She was gone.
Dead. Yep. Ann was dead.
All right. Yeah.
Cops. Who signed her in? Oh, well, we didn't have it. What do you mean they didn't have it? It was the law. They had to have it. And then they put down she died of COVID.
Oh, wow.
Well, you know what? A lot of hospitals did that because they were getting, $45,000, $50,000 for everybody that died of COVID. The government.
Right.
So the actual number dead from COVID, we don't even know what's true or not because so many hospitals just ripped the government off, basically. I said people with
right.
They weren't. But, he didn't die of COVID.
Right. All right. We'll leave it at that and keep going. I know there's some people lost. You'll have to go back and listen, and I know Paul is cutting in and out a little bit because he's driving, but we do appreciate him, and we appreciate you for once this series is done to listen to the whole thing. The bottom line of this case is Lauren Dumolo is missing. Paul Dumolo has been and is still searching for answers to this day, and this case is crazy. There's going to probably be 11 episodes in total on this, so I'm grateful for the people that understand where we are and what we're doing, and that this case is a roller coaster. It's all over the place, and you will understand when you go back. So thank you for being here. If you don't understand, I appreciate.
Can I say something
What's
real
that?
quick? Can I say something real quick?
Try to. Yeah,
May I say
I just want
something
to
real
hear
quick?
you.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Is that better? Okay. During the first episode I did with you, I noticed people were asking a lot of questions in chat. I'm not reading the chat while I talk on here. So if I'll go back, and anybody has questions for me, if they put it in after the episode's over, and I go back and look at everything, I'll answer those questions for them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I noticed that I was told that there was a bunch of there in the first episode, and I didn't have the chat up when I was on here talking.
No, you're driving. Yeah, you're driving.
I'm not good at that. So.
Yeah, it's okay. And we're in this for the long haul together. We're also going to have a point where we do a Q&A where we do gather the questions and have a question to answer with you when you're not driving, so we can hear you very clear, because right now it kind of cuts in and out.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right.
Put that out there. If anybody had anything, I'll be more than happy to go back.
Absolutely. And we appreciate that so much. Yeah, let's keep going. And I love that you're just here with me, hanging out, listening to this, because we're dedicating our. Thank you. It is my birthday, and we're both dedicating our time, and everybody that's in chat, we're all dedicating our time to Lauren to try to solve this. My thing is that's a stretch to say I'm going to solve this, but I do want this to get out there so that we can open this back up. I can't leave it this way. So let's keep going.
Other time she'd posted was when Victor was in the hospital. And again, thoughts and prayers came her way. She was such a believer in this online community that she introduced Lauren to it, knowing her daughter shared her interest. Lauren made her first post in December of 2016. She posted a smiling selfie and asked the community to tell her what energy they saw in her. 41 comments followed with answers from vibrant and happy energy and radiant to you don't hide your pain very well. Anne also commented on her debut post. My daughter Lauren, she's a beautiful soul. I'm so proud of you. Initially, Lauren seemed to rely on this group for emotional support and validation that everything in her life would be okay. She routinely posted selfies and asked for members to read her aura. She also opened up and revealed her most intimate life struggles. She progressed into seeking guidance on her energetic and spiritual journey. She announced that she had been practicing tarot card reading and wanted to barter with others in exchange for their healing work skill set, whatever it was.
Wow.
She also shared how a bout of insomnia one night led her outside, where she felt that everything around her, the trees, the sky, even the air, was breathing. She felt connected to the experience and wanted to share, to see if others had also had this experience. She had started referring to the members as brothers and sisters. And Anne always commented on her posts. But other than her mother, it seems like the rest of the family was in the dark.
Just to add another layer to everything, Lindsay discovered her participation in a Facebook group and reading it it sounded like total BS. Even the way she was talking on there, it sounded like almost speaking another language.
Oh yeah, I have one of her little paragraph of what she wrote on there, and it was, I'll have to send it to you. It's just like she talks about a real battle of good and evil.
The paragraph Lindsay is referring to was posted on June 11th, 2020, 8 days before Lauren went missing. Here are some excerpts.
Does anyone feel like there's a real battle between good and evil right now? I feel like I'm finally having my awakening. I've been meditating and speaking to my higher self lately. I believe it's as though I'm on my own frequency, and I believe in energy and the power of love and light. I feel like us have to gather together to keep the balance. There's something bigger going on. I feel it deep within.
Surprisingly, for as involved in the group as Anne had been, she did not reach out to the group when Lauren went missing. However, she did comment on an unrelated post from another member and shared that her daughter had been missing for a month at that point. Not too long after that, other members began to share posts about Lauren's case with the Cape Coral tip hotline information. And there was another member of the group.
Now, keep in mind, folks, Cape Coral, Florida, Cape Coral, just that place, Cape Coral, is where Wade Wilson did his crime spree. And the police didn't do a very good job. They didn't do a thorough job. They could have stopped that double homicide that happened if they would have started with Kelly when she showed them the pictures of the strangulation and the bite marks and all of those things. So this is Cape Coral that we're talking about. This detective that says, I have 14 cases here that I solved, and I solved every one of them, the cocky, egotistical thing to say, hasn't solved and hasn't found anything. And he overlooked, in my opinion, has overlooked a lot of things in this case. And well, he should have stopped Wade Wilson when he did that to Kelly. So Sweetie says, Jay, it's out there. Yeah, the missing pieces. We need the puzzle together for Lauren, Paul, and for so many that love her. Absolutely. I just wanted to interject with you so you know who we're like, which area, what police department, and who we're talking about. And I bet it's probably a small group of folks that have big egos.
Making headlines. On August 16th, across the state in Hollywood, Florida, it was reported that a man named Shannon Ryan was in FBI custody on charges of kidnapping a child. The child's mother, Layla Cavett, who was similar in age to Lauren, is still missing as of the recording of this podcast. Shannon, a self-proclaimed witch, tarot card teacher, and spiritual guru, was the last person to have seen this woman alive. He was caught on cameras with Layla in the days leading up to her disappearance, and a solid link between him and Layla was made. But followers of Lauren's case were quick to find similarities. And even more interesting was the fact that there were 3 other missing women also connected to this group. 2 had disappeared from Florida. All of these missing women, including Lauren, followed Shannon as well on Facebook, where he posted his incantations and witchy musings. For a fee, you too could learn to be a witch, a sorcerer, or a tarot card reader. On August 18th, 61 days missing, NBC2 aired a story about how the cases were potentially connected and cited this online spiritual group as the common link. Again, Paul was interviewed, and the reporter from Four Freedoms Park reviewed the evidence that had been found thus far. This was a new lead, to be sure, but others, like Cassie, didn't believe her sister and Layla Cavit's cases were connected.
She found like a lot of online connections. I don't find like any significance to that.
We did not find any specific connection between Shannon Ryan and Lauren. He did not comment on her posts, and vice versa. Nor did we find any specific connection between Layla Cavit and Lauren. Shannon Ryan remains in FBI custody.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Paul had been doing a little investigating of his own and found his own lead. He had visited Lauren's place of employment, a Taco Bell in the nearby town of Fort Myers, and discovered that Lauren had an admirer.
Gabby got the job at Taco Bell. The manager of Taco Bell, this guy Luis, his wife is Gabby's cousin. During my investigation while I was down there, this guy, Sandy, that kept coming into the Taco Bell and trying to hit on Lauren. From what I understand from the manager, Lauren kept on telling this guy, no, she was in a relationship. No. As soon as Lauren went missing, he stopped going in there. Nobody saw him again.
And according to Paul's sources, he had stopped going to Taco Bell before Lauren's case was even reported to the police. Paul brought this information to Detective Jones, who did locate and follow up with Sandy. According to Paul, Detective Jones said that Sandy had cooperated and even shown him his phone, but Detective Jones didn't get vibes from him, and he was not deemed a person of interest. That didn't exactly sit right with Paul, who had looked a bit deeper into Sandy's past.
Yeah, this doesn't sit right when an officer tells you, oh, I didn't get the vibe from him, and I looked at his phone. So,
Can I say something on that, Jay?
yeah, just make sure make sure I can hear you.
You hear me okay right now? Yeah, how's that?
Yeah.
Is that better? Okay, all right. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This guy that went in there to the Taco Bell, he was hitting on my daughter for weeks. And she was telling my boyfriend. Then he was also hitting on the assistant manager, and that's who I was speaking with. And he started hitting on her at the same time. And she gave me all the text messages that he had sent her and voicemails that he had left, which I still have. And this guy, guess what? Convicted twice in Miami for human trafficking.
Yes, the human trafficking problem in that area.
That's not the cousin now of Gabby. Just to make that clear.
No.
Gabby's
This is
cousin
a random.
was a actual general manager of Taco Bell's, and he would be rotated to 3 different stores. And every one of those stores, the girls that were hired, pretty much every one of them came out of rehab or had a prior, substance abuse problem. Almost every one. And in one of them, guess what? A worker there was taken, and, she actually got away and fought, but she was taken.
So she was
going to be
trafficked. They were trying to traffic her.
Correct.
So that's another. Yeah, that's another.
Very odd that Gabby's cousin happens to be the manager of these 3 stores, and then that happens. And that didn't happen in just one of the stores that he was in. It happened in 2. One, they actually got a girl. The second one, the girl got away. And with my daughter, about a month before she went missing, she called me up on the phone hysterical. She walked out of Taco Bell, and 2 guys tried to drag her into a car, because when she came out of Taco Bell, the way it was, she had to walk through the parking lot in the back, because she took the bus, was across the street behind Taco Bell. So she had to walk that way, and 2 guys tried to grab her and drag her into a car. She got away and fought. And as she was getting on the bus, they snatched her purse from her. So they had her, at her address and everything. So, that was a really good lead for them, which I found out,
This is definitely.
I got there before the cops did.
And this is a good possibility. I've thought this as well. I've had my possibilities of who and how and what could have happened. And as you guys, as this unfolds, you'll see that it could have been. I mean, the biggest suspect, in my opinion, is Victor and Gabby with the whole now hearing Oscar. But then when I hear about the trafficking in the area and this, it's like, whoa, wait. Yeah, that's why this podcast series is so, I mean, won so many awards. There's so many twists and turns here, and we're still looking. We're still looking. Yeah. Oh my God. So all right, let me continue. I know you have a lot to say. We have to let many more episodes. I don't want to let it all out, but I do want to get this going. And I still have to get going today.
Right, the background on him turns out that he was convicted for prostitution and human trafficking out of Miami. So he stopped coming in. My daughter's missing, and he has this kind of past.
Paul also found the connection between Sandy and Taco Bell.
Well, the guy, the manager, that's his cousin. This guy, Luis, the manager, he worked in 3 different Taco Bells. 2 out of the 3 Taco Bells that he worked in, 2 of his employees, which he hired, were arrested for human trafficking. And the second one, there was a girl abducted and found beaten almost half to death under a bridge.
Paul now understood Gabby's seemingly flippant comment about even looking under the bridge for Lauren.
Yep. Remember that,
While
folks.
Paul was investigating in neighboring Fort Myers, Danny was searching more locally in Cape Coral. She discovered that there was someone keeping quiet about Lauren's disappearance. We've had to bleep out this guy's name since he may be of interest to the police.
The girl who organized the search made a map, and she had different streets and different locations for each team. She did say not to go to 808. It is a very well-known apartment complex where there is known trafficking, drug use. It's very close proximity to Lauren, half a mile or less away, very well known to the CCPD. And that is why the woman said, don't go there because it's bad news and we don't want to put anyone at risk. I tend to want to find out everything and anything. So that was actually the first place I went to. Much like when I went to Victor's house, something compelled me to go upstairs and go to this one. It was, and I walked up to him and I showed him the flyer and I said, hi, do you know this girl? She's missing. He said he had never seen Lauren, never heard of Lauren. And I said, okay, thank you. And so then I just continued walking around to different houses. I knocked on dozens and spoke to different people. Some people said that they had seen her, but no one knew specifically what had happened to her.
Danny continued talking to people in the complex, and a neighbor pointed out to her that the man Danny showed the picture to was known for getting women messed up on drugs or alcohol, and he and his girlfriend would engage in sexual activity with these women and record them. According to this neighbor, this man's girlfriend had blonde hair. So when Danny went back to 808 and saw a girl come around the corner with blonde hair, she was curious if this was the man's girlfriend. So she asked her.
She goes, no. And I asked her about, and she supported what that man had said, how they were heavy into drugs. They were heavy into recording women. And then while she and I were talking, another woman came up who lived in a downstairs apartment. And I asked her, just like I had asked everyone, have you seen this girl? Do you know her? And she said that she had seen Lauren and had actually 3 local bars in the area, Back Streets, Rusty's, and the Monkey Bar. So it was interesting that she had confirmed that had in fact spent time with Lauren and that this woman had witnessed it. When I saw him, he said, oh, I don't know her. And I said, would you like the flyer? He said, oh, yes, I'll pass it around.
These kinds of interactions are ones that make you wonder, who else was keeping quiet? And who else could have known something about Lauren but was staying under the radar?
Chapter 10. A bad situation.
All right, and we're on the last leg of this episode, and it just gets crazier and crazier. So I appreciate the people that are here. Go ahead.
I elaborate on one thing with that. The guy.
Yeah, and I do want to see your face when you talk.
I know.
Wait, go ahead. No, you're okay. Just
the guy that they're talking about there, his name was Josh Okapal, and he lived not too far away from Lauren. And the girl was, one of the neighbors, but hung out with this guy. She was ex-Army actually, but she actually did. I'm pretty sure from what I remember, she was overseas and saw combat. She came back with PTSD and got involved with drugs or alcohol, whatever. And that's how she knew Josh. But Josh They went to his house. They supposedly got his computers because he was recording things. And his ex-wife actually reached out to me before he got arrested. And he wasn't arrested for Lauren. He was arrested on drug charges. And guess what? He got arrested, and, they were in there. They were like wanting to cut him a deal, and, tell us what happened with Lauren, blah, 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 blah. And he didn't say anything because they thought Lauren was seen supposedly at a party at his house the night that she disappeared.
Okay.
So
yeah, we're gonna start getting introduced to these people.
Gets arrested months later, and maybe even 6-7 months later, whatever it was. I'm pretty sure it was a drug charge, and gets out of jail. And within a couple of days, guess what? Josh is dead. OD'd, hot shot.
Wow. We'll
everybody around my daughter just seems to be dropping like flies,
and this is gonna everybody that's here, you guys are dedicated to Lauren. We're taking our time for Lauren. This is all. How many people now? This is 3 people. We've got Josh, we've got Ann, and we've got Oscar that have now passed. And I would say mysterious circumstances, because one they said was COVID, the other one said he unalived himself, and then this guy did a hot shot of ODing. All of this. All right, let's finish the rest of this episode, and then we have so many more to cover, and I want people to really understand and grasp the gravity of not only Lauren's situation, but what's happening in that area, or everywhere, I would say, but in that area there's a lot, and they're all still out there, the ones that are alive. Anyway,
a little closer to home, Gabby was ready to talk publicly again. On August 10th, he gave his second news interview, this time to NBC2. To this news outlet, he had a different theory than his first interview with Wink News. He first reiterated,
I don't even nervous, because I really didn't, I don't know anything.
Then he continues,
maybe she was looking for an apartment to get out of where we were at. So I was thinking she was looking for an apartment around. I don't know. Maybe someone took advantage of that. And that was it. And never came back. That's my theory.
And as a final statement, the News 2 reporter said, quote, Gabriel said she wasn't using drugs and wouldn't harm herself. So now it's not her friend getting her messed up on drugs. This is where he contradicts himself on his first theory when he talked to Wink News back in July. Then presents an alternative theory of his own, an apartment search. Gabby had mentioned an apartment search. Strangely, Lauren looking for an apartment had come up. Let's now rewind back a bit to episode 1, to that anonymous source. The morning of Friday, June 19th, a man who wished to remain anonymous said he saw Lauren that morning around 8:30 a.m. She appeared to be walking toward her apartment from the direction of Four Freedoms Park. We now know the anonymous source is a maintenance worker in various buildings in the area, including Victor and Ann's apartment building where Lauren used to live. And this maintenance worker had more information to share. He told police that Thursday, June 18th, one day prior to Lauren's disappearance, Lauren approached him in the afternoon to ask if he knew about any available apartments because she, quote, had to get out of a bad situation. He told other people about Lauren approaching him too. He sent a message to a friend stating,
I seen her at the pool on Atlantic Avenue last week. I talked to her at the pool. She was asking if any apartments were available. She said she had to get out of a bad situation. Is all I know. I told her to call the office.
The maintenance man, on 3 occasions that we know of, described his conversation with Lauren in a way that seemed like she wanted to get out of a bad situation. Not she and Gabby. Not the we Gabby described in his News 2 interview. Lauren also confided in her friend Erica about needing to get out of a bad situation, specifically to get away from Gabby.
I look on Messenger and I see this message from her that, he beat her up and that she's scared and she just wants out of this relationship. Her message said, I don't know what to do. I need to get out of this situation. I need help.
On the next Complicit.
A peek inside Lauren and Gabby's relationship.
They were hugging and kissing and dancing, but not all relationships are rainbows and butterflies,
We went to the 7-Eleven across the street, and I found out that Lauren had gone to the 7-Eleven frequently, and she would share that she was in a really bad relationship.
Lauren's friends weigh in.
I just have this gut feeling that he knows where she is. You don't live with somebody, you're with them 24/7, they become missing, and you know nothing.
Her family continues to dig into her past.
I come to find out there's a lot of things I didn't know about my daughter. Yeah, and it all wasn't good.
But where is Lauren Dumolo?
All right, and we're gonna leave off on where she is, and if you want to put input now after this, we're gonna stop on this episode. We talked about the cadaver dogs, and you gave us insight what they hit on. Can you tell us again? I was gonna play the episode, the bonus one, what they hit on, but you kind of told us. So what was it that they hit on?
They hit on
then anything. Go ahead.
They hit on a bloody rag. They hit on a first aid kit, which was in the back of the van. There was a rolled up rug. They hit on the rolled up piece of rug. They hit on rope, all of it in the back of the van.
Okay.
In the front of the van, they hit on the steering wheel, and they hit on the front seat. In the mom's house and Victor's house, the apartment, they hit on the curtains in front of the washer and dryer. They hit on the curtains that led out to the balcony, which faced 4 Freedoms Park. They hit on the dishwasher. They also hit on the rug, like in front of where the couch was, which I believe, I think I told you in the first episode, at the time, Lindsay was moving when I first got down there, and she was moving in with her fiance, boyfriend at the time, about 2 hours away. And Victor must have called her 15, 20 times because Cassie and I were both there. And even before we got there, and wanting her old couch. And she kept telling him, I'm taking the couch with me. And he kept on pressing her. You know, your mom needs a couch. You know, she lays on the couch. This couch is a piece of shit, blah, 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 blah. Finally, she gave in because she couldn't take it no more. Okay, come and get the couch. Well, when he came and got the couch that was originally in his apartment, he took that with him and threw it in a dumpster at her apartment instead of in the dumpster at his apartment.
At his apartment, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds like there's a lot to hide.
I had already left by then, because if I would have known that he dumped that couch into that dumpster, I would have taken it out and kept it.
Of course.
But I found out after the fact, because you know she was going to do things. Lindsay and me and Cassie had things to do, regarding Lauren, and she was in the midst of moving. So all of that occurred after Cassie and myself left.
On the next episode, folks, I will show that chart again of all the people involved. Cassie is Lauren's sister, Paul's daughter. Lindsay is Lindsay your other daughter, or is
Lindsay is my stepdaughter.
Okay.
Yeah, Anne had 3 children from her first marriage. You know, but I raised them for 14 years. And Jeffrey at the time when I got together with her, Lindsay was like a year and a half old. Jeffrey was like 9 months old, and Jen was I don't know, 3 years old at the time. So, I raised them since they were little until they were,
everybody's family. Everybody we're talking about is family when we're listening to this right now, and
them children,
Right. Now your phone, you got your headset working, but then it cut out. Hello, Melissa. Thank you for watching. Everybody that is watching and hitting the like and sharing is supporting this case so that we can get this back into the light. And I'll do that. I'll heavily promote it when we're done with all of the episodes. Right now, I'm lightly promoting it, but we want to get the story out. And there's so many twists and turns in this. And just to remind you, after Lauren went missing, Paul you came from California to Florida, correct? And you stayed there for 3 months searching for her. Is that right?
Yes, I was there for, yes, I was there for 3 months. Yeah. But can I just say something? I mean, earlier I think you said that the case was closed. The case is not closed. It's just cold. It went cold. That's all. The
Okay.
case is not
That
closed, but
and
I'm
maybe I said it wrong. Yeah, it's cold, but we
yeah.
need fresh
It's a
eyes
cold
on it,
case,
I
right?
believe. Yeah,
They
it's a
did. They
cold
put a new
case.
detective on it. They did put a second detective on it, and it's still a cold case. But what I'm thinking about doing is going down to the courthouse and it's been
You
4 years,
you cut
and
out
do that.
all of
Oh, is that better? Is that any better?
yeah, all of that cut out. So you want to
Can you
tell
hear
me
me?
again?
Okay.
You're thinking about
Okay.
you're thinking about going to
Yeah.
court.
I'm thinking about going to the courthouse, and since it's been 4 years, and having my daughter declared dead. And the reason I would do that is for
Okay,
two reasons. Number one, it goes from missing endangered to then a murder case. It would be a homicide then,
right.
because I have her
Let me do
declared
this.
dead.
Hold on.
And once I do that, every single thing
Your phone. It all cut out. You're all cutting out. Paul. Paul, I can't hear you.
I would ask for. I'm sorry.
No,
Might be in a bad
it
area.
all cut out. Yeah, it all cut out.
Still
So
no good. Still no good.
it's good. It's okay now.
Can you hear
I'm
me
gonna
now?
yeah, go ahead and finish what you were saying, and then I'm
I would,
gonna
I would
play the
ask for.
four-year.
I would get all the files that the police have. The files that I would get everything from the police that they have. I would
Okay,
ask the
so
court that I want that if she was declared dead. Right.
okay, and then you can look yourself. You
Yep.
can get a private eye again, and you can do anything you want with the case.
Yeah.
Okay,
Or I could, Lee County Sheriff's Department can pick it up if they want to take it, or somebody else
right.
that has
Okay,
more resources.
yeah.
Right.
That I
Yeah.
mean, I'm with you on that, and I'll support you in anything. I'll help you dig through files if you like, or to send things to me and say, "Hey, I saw this. What do you think?" And I have my team here with that they love. Petty Mason digs in deep. I'm sure the mods would love to help with anything. So let us know. Let us know anything you
I
need.
would
I'm
love to
gonna
talk with Petty. Actually, if she digs in, can
yeah.
you give Petty my phone number and anybody else?
Yeah, I can. I can.
I would like to look to. For sure, they
Yes.
I'll pay them. I'll pay.
Your phone's cutting out again. I'm gonna play this last clip of 4 years. This is the
If
most
somebody help me, I'll be happy to pay them for this.
yeah. Okay. He said he's happy to pay for time. We're not we don't want any of that. We just want to help. But I'm gonna play this clip. This is the latest clip 4 years after her disappearance, and then I'm gonna say goodbye to everybody because yes, it is time to get ready. Believe it or not, RV parks make you have a check-in time, and my check-in time is at 1, so it's 11:30. All right, let's listen to this.
Disappeared from her.
Hold on. What was that? Oh, he cut out. Okay. All right. So let's thank you. Let's send prayers and light and love to Papa Paul. Paul Dumolo, Lauren Dumolo's dad. He's been in it for the long haul. When she went missing, he went from California to Florida and stayed there for 3 months, knocking on people's doors, and not pleasant people at that. They were not pleasant people. These were traffickers, drug dealers, anybody that any bad type of person that you could think, probably murders. I'm sure he went, yeah, and looked and is still searching for the truth for his daughter. Much love to Paul. Let's watch this. This is this is when I started picking up the case. I think this was my first episode that I found this 4 years after the disappearance. It's about 2 minutes long. Speed up, and I appreciate you all. Please like, share if you haven't subscribed, and let's get this out there. I know it's not the typical case that I do, but it is a cold case that we're looking to open back up, and there are a lot of twists and turns in this, and it's all factual things that happened. It's not speculation. It's just a lot of things, a lot of this and that, and he did this and this happened. But if you look into it, it happened. 3 people died so far, and we're only on episode 4 around her, and 3 people are not including the 4th, which is possibly and probably Lauren. So 4 years. This is the latest update on Lauren from Cape Coral. So the case is cold but not closed.
Her Cape Coral home. This gas station security footage shows her handing in an application on June 18th of 2020. Dumolo was last seen at her home on Coronado Parkway in Cape Coral.
Yeah, her purse was found at Four Freedoms Park 2 days after her disappearance, but her cell phone was still at her apartment. Her parents are still frustrated and heartbroken that they don't know where their daughter is or exactly what happened to her. Wink News reporter Liz Byro joins us now live in studio. So Liz, where does this case stand right now?
Yeah, Russ, Cape Coral police say this case is still very active, but when I talked to her dad, he fears the case of his missing daughter has gone cold.
When Paul Dumolo looks at these pictures of his girls, he wishes he had a time machine. This one's his favorite, his little Lauren and Cassie, born 13 months apart.
See, Lauren could do whatever she wanted and say whatever she wanted to Cassie, but anybody else did. Lauren be the first one there.
Lauren was older, always protecting Cassie. Paul watched his kids grow to have kids of their own, but in his mind, Lauren hasn't changed in 4 years. This is how he remembers her. Lauren took this photo the last day her dad saw her. The last time he spoke to her was a phone call on June 18th, 2020.
Something I always do, because I'm afraid that I'll forget, is replay that phone call, last few phone calls I got from her, so I don't forget what her voice sounds like.
Lauren Dumolo was reported missing the next day, reportedly last seen by her boyfriend. Her phone was in her Cape Coral apartment. Her purse was found at the nearby Four Freedoms Park. Everything since that day doesn't add up to Paul.
Without a doubt, frustrated because I don't know what it's going to take, or I, to be honest with you, I don't think there will ever be any arrest made too far gone now.
But he remembers her like this and finds peace in the promise he'll see her again on the other side. While he wishes law enforcement had more answers, he and Lauren's sister Cassie are forever grateful for all those who kept Lauren's name alive and never gave up the search.
I wish that Lauren could see, like, even if she didn't always feel loved and welcomed and accepted or different from this world, that there are so many people here still fighting for her that don't even know her.
Countless
That's her
flyers and
sister.
searches have been organized for the single mom, a sister, a daughter, and a friend. Lauren Dumolo and Lauren's dad told me he can picture Lauren looking down and saying, man, all of this for me. And of course, if you know anything, it's never too late to come forward.
That family deserves answers, no doubt about it. Liz, thank you.
Right. All right. I'm going to stop sharing that, and I'm going to say my goodbyes to everybody. I love each and every single one of you. Everybody that is involved, thank you for being involved, putting your time in. Paul, I will give Petty your number. Julie says prayers for the family. They do need them. We all need them. We all need that love and light sent toward us so that we can continue on this journey together, and also to get this out there, because that's what it's about. It's about getting it out there, having people pay attention to it, listen to what happened. This is not just a cut and dry case whatsoever. There's so many things that are involved in this case. So yes, Paul, he's amazing. He stays positive, and we all do care for Paul. When we see him in chat, we show him love. I talk to him frequently on the telephone and via text message. Melly, showing love. Thank you. And everybody that was here that's supporting us. Clar, thank you. Cold Case Foundation. Maybe if you can send me some information, that'd be great. Jane Doe. I love there's a Jane Doe in here. So thank you all. Thank you all for being here. I am going to take my time and go regroup with myself, have some time with the family, and just sit back and think about things. And I'll still be listening and watching, and I'll be online probably here and there, but no definitive times, dates, anything like that. I'm off for a while for my birthday. We're heading out. So I love each and every single one of you, and I want to thank you all for those that sent me gifts yesterday and last night and today, and everybody. Remember, let me put that at the bottom. It's about Lauren Dumolo. I just want to make sure you hit the like and share, and don't forget to subscribe, because there's so many people that forget to subscribe, but that's what helps get us in the algorithm so that we can be bigger and better and have more guests on here. Thank you, Wolfpack and Petty Mason and Jojo and Carly and Bree. I have the best mods in all of YouTube. I'm convinced. I know it. I love you. Thank you. And yes, send that over, Clar. I always love talking to you and hearing from you. And on that note, don't end up on my show because you don't want to be guilty of crime. Have a good one. I love you all.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?